Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to do an update or a series of updates to that really effed up video I covered a few weeks ago, which was titled, Wife Made BD You-Know-What Type of Videos in College, Now Having Meltdown It Caused to Destroy Her Marriage. And a shout out to Thomas for letting me know about this update. And guys, like I said, that was probably one of the most effed up videos I've ever covered. I'm sure probably you guys would agree with me. And if you don't recall, quick recap, that's about the wife and mother, who, while in college, was paid to make all sorts of really effed up out there videos in the kink department, and continued that, obviously, fascination with that lifestyle ever since. And recently had cheated on her husband with a guy in his car, committing all sorts of vile and disgusting things. You all recall, I'm not going to repeat it. And, well, ultimately she tells her husband. Oh, how nice of her. And he's just completely shut down. And she's losing her mind. Poor her about the whole thing. Because the whole video is her, building up to tell him about it and blah, blah, blah. Well, here we are. And now she's had a series of updates on things. And guess what? She thought things might actually improve. They're not. Big freaking surprise. Especially when he learns the extent of the details, which you all recall. And now he's done, thank the Lord, and she's losing her darn mind. So I figured you guys want to hear what's going on here. So to continue on the story, and this is right after the last post. And you all recall I did a long video, but then the other parts were on my other channel, Hit the Bricks. Because originally Hit the Bricks, I did the ending of it, her just whining because her husband left her, and I didn't know at the time there was other stuff. So if you want to see the other part, go check out the other channel. I'll post a link. She says here, week 1 since coming clean. It's been about a week since I told my partner about my cheating. I've attended exactly 1 session of individual counseling. Honey, you need to attend a whole lot of counseling, every day. It was just a session of getting to know me, and we touched on my cheating and my possible SCX addiction, but we'll speak about it more in subsequent sessions. It will take time. I expected therapy to be immediately soothing and give me some sense of direction, but apparently 1 session isn't enough for that. No, 1 session isn't enough for that. That's just, getting acquainted. And that therapist, I can see her leaving the therapist's office, and the therapist is like, holy crap, what'd I get myself into here? Well, that's fair, but I do look forward to my next appointment. There has been absolute radio silence from my partner since the day I came clean. Well, duh, what do you expect? You're lucky he didn't have a heart attack or a stroke. He spent the day outside with friends or at work, and when he came home, he would sleep on the couch and show me anyway when I tried to speak to him. Not disrespectfully, not angrily, just in a tired, dismissive way. I didn't push on it because I'm afraid that he will feel cornered and I don't want to force him to talk to me. Well, that's smart. It's amazing he's still... The only reason this guy's sticking around is because of the kids. For now, he'll know the extent of my cheating, but none of the details. Yeah, she told him he cheated, but he doesn't know the graphic, disgusting details. Well, things come out. I don't know if I think it's a good thing or a bad thing. It does make me very anxious, though, keeping all this inside of me and being unable to tell him. But I suppose if he don't want to know, then he doesn't want to know, so I'll keep it to myself. One question that he asked me recently, not even face-to-face, he sent me a message while out home late one night, but it still makes me feel slightly optimistic. He asked if my cheating was planned, premeditated, if I went out that day planning to cheat. And I did answer truthfully, and it effing sucks to tell him this, but I did answer with a yes. Well, no kidding. There's always planning involved. That's why when they say, oh, it just happened, or it was a mistake. No, it just happened. It wasn't just a mistake. Lots of planning and calculating. That's a better way to say calculating went into these affairs. I didn't go out planning to cheat, but somewhere along the line, or the way, I did have the idea come to my mind, and I committed it to the bit. It wasn't a long-term plan or anything like that, but when the opportunity came, it was a conscious choice. I'm very aware of it, and I can't bring myself to lie or misrepresent such a fundamental part of my experience. Well, since then, there has been even more silence and dismissal from his side. I don't want to lose him, but I'm afraid I will. What do you expect? You destroyed your freaking marriage. I mean, the guy knew some things, I believe, about her, in college doing videos, but obviously not the full thing, and still married her anyway, which was dumb. Of course it's over. I want him to know how much he matters to me, despite how it all looks. Yeah, you can tell how much he matters to you when you were engaging in that graphic crap in the car with that dude. But I can't because he refused to even talk to me. I want to say something, or I want him to say something to me, anything. Of all the reactions I was preparing myself, this was the one thing I didn't imagine happening, just complete silence. Did you guys pick up on that? The silence. He's not engaging with her. He's not yelling at her and shaming her and fighting with her. Silence. It's making her nuts. That is the best thing any guy can ever do if some shit goes down and you're not ready to communicate yet. Silence. Indifference. Makes them nuts. You know? Next update. She says, is it good to resume intimacy when there hasn't been full disclosure yet? She says, I'm overjoyed. My partner, he's your fucking husband, lady. My partner, despite everything, still wants intimacy with me, and I don't know why, and I don't understand how. Well, I don't understand. He probably wants to, rage F her, Some skull effing. But he doesn't know all the details yet. I'm grateful. This is exactly what I wanted to do. The SEX is different now. It feels more passionate in some ways, but also more detached in other ways. There has been an instance when he asked to turn the light down, and when he tried to go down on me, he couldn't do it. Well, there ain't no way. If there's anybody you don't go down on, it's this chick. Good God. Well, I can't turn him down. I've never turned him down for SEX. You wouldn't turn anybody down for sex, lady. We both want it and both clearly enjoy it. But I've been feeling an insane amount of guilt and disgust with my past actions. I can't shake off the feeling that he knows that he will never want to be intimate with me again if he knows the details of my cheating. I even told him so, that maybe it's a better idea to wait some time, and I try to be strong and hold off my urges. But no, he said he wanted this, and whatever will happen later. It's probably one of these situations where in a brief moment of weakness, the husband wants to pretend things didn't happen and sleep with her and all that, but terrible idea. Oh yeah, smack to the husband for that. He should be talking to a lawyer. I think he actually is talking to a lawyer behind the scenes, but that'd be dumb to be sleeping with her. I can acknowledge that I have a weird fixation with disclosing the full extent of my affair. See, that's part of her kink. Letting these things out, and, I think she likes shame, like messing with this guy. And I think part of it is that if I were in his place, I would have wanted to know everything. And also, from what I know about my partner, I thought he would feel differently the same way, or he would likely feel the same way. And I'm sure part of it is an ingrained sense of shame about my desires and kinks and whatnot. It doesn't feel like I've come fully clean unless he knows all about my internal drives and specific niche S-word interests that played a part in my affair. Or says affairs. She's dying to tell him, but just she knows deep down that when he hears the details, you all recall the details, he's done. Because, good God, let alone kissing her or going anywhere near her parts or orifices. I feel like that's too big of a part for them to not know, and I can't shake off the feeling that he would just be disgusted if I did those things with someone else, that he would be disgusted with me for even desiring to do all those things. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. Yes, he'd be disgusted with it, lady. Shit, most of us were disgusted with it. It's at this moment that I realize how terrified I am of him not accepting me. It's been the biggest fear I have, and I wish I didn't carry around all these secrets and traumas. I wish I didn't let it all culminate in infidelity, and I wish I told him sooner. But I have to respect his choice and not knowing for now. It's like the least I could do in this situation. I'm grateful, but I'm afraid. Drama. Next one, because these are a series of her updates. She can't go a few days without getting more attention and validation on Reddit. Next one, deciding to tell my in-laws about my cheating. Yeah, that'll be a great, frankly, they should know. I can imagine that conversation. So I was in this car with this guy I met at the bar, and my tongue was in his caboose, amongst many other things, and he was, I can imagine that conversation. I hate the idea of anyone else knowing outside of my husband. I have to face embarrassment and maybe lose some people who are dear to me. But I do see that my husband needs a support system. I'm already estranged from most of my family, so I don't have a whole lot of people to share with. There's a freaking surprise. I lost my parents at a young age, so my in-laws pretty much became my found family over the years. It's terrifying to think how they'll react, but I want my husband to have some kind of support in navigating through this. I think at this point you prioritize, right? It is more important for me to take accountability for my husband's grief and trauma and allow his loved ones to support him than to save myself from embarrassment. Oh, you're such a hero. I know this. I want to help him the best way I can, but it's still scary, and I know the consequences are mine to bear, but it's going to upend a lot of relationships, and I hope I'm doing the right thing by choosing this. Next one. Almost lost my marriage to a PORN addiction and compulsive pleasuring myself. She says, my obsession with PORN comics, extreme PORN kinks led me to being an inattentive mother and disloyal wife. I've been chasing the high of pleasure for so long, and I feel disgusted with myself. I've only recently started to try and get myself clean from my addiction. Well, it's going to be quite the journey. But you see, she already, by labeling this all an addiction, now in some way she's a victim. Well, I have an addiction, I can't control myself, therefore, you see where I'm going with this? I have been PORN and pleasuring myself free for 2 weeks. It's hard and I get the itch often, but I think I need to get my priorities straight. So far, I've been keeping myself busy and basically guilt-tripping myself to stay away from the self-pleasure, but I'm not sure if that's sustainable. I don't know, keep yourself busy by having a fucking job, or doing housework, or contributing to the household, taking care of your kids. I can think of a few things this wife and mother can do to distract herself from these things. Me and my husband have an active sex life for now, and it helps with my libido. I've enrolled into therapy, but it's slow progress. I suspect I may be an addict. Do any of you suffer from that type of addiction, or any resources you want to point me towards? I've been advised to look for CSAT therapists. Can anyone also recommend? Next update, titled, Everything I Say is a Trigger. How do I handle this as the wayward? I'm okay with him lashing out. That part is fine. I can be patient and I'm going to be resilient. Except I'm unable to say anything without backfiring on me. As words I offer in solidarity or empathy or even asking a question is picked apart and criticized, to the point that I feel I'm doing more harm than good by trying to say words at all. In other words, but now the husband's gone from sleeping with her to anything she says, he yells at her. Who can blame him? And I do get my words are kind of worthless considering the scope of my betrayal. I get that he wouldn't find any comfort in me, anything I say, and I get that he's lashing out at me because he's hurt. I'm not complaining at all. I get and understand it all. Yes, you are complaining. What do you think you're doing out here? But what is it that I can do? If I ask how he's feeling, he'll scream at me saying, how do you think I'm feeling right now? If I say, do you want to talk about it? He'll tell me that it's too little, too late for me to pretend to care about him. If I say sorry, he'll ask if saying sorry won't change anything. When I say no, he'll tell me that he'll keep my worthless apologies to myself. If I offer to give him space, he'll accuse me of trying to escape from facing the consequences of my actions and leave him alone with his pain. If I just stand in silence, he'll say I'm not being helpful and send me away anyway. I don't feel bad for her, but I do want to be helpful. I don't know how to. I don't know how I can offer some kind of support without causing further triggers. We've been having some difficult discussions. I've tried to be honest and kind during the talks, but it always ends with him getting annoyed at something I say or storming off to be alone with his thoughts, and we don't achieve anything with our conversation. I can tell he's trying, but I think he's deeply hurt, and I can't help him but be mad at me for everything I do. I don't resent him for that. I understand why he's going through this. I'm very happy he has at least heeded my advice to enroll in individual counseling. Well, the husband's he's definitely damaged by this, and you can't blame him. And by the way, guys, still, he doesn't know the extent of the shit she was doing when she was having that affair. Well, that's coming. I'm doing everything I can to show him how serious I am about reconciling. I've opened my devices, I'm going to therapy, I paid for and installed PORN blockers on my devices. Yeah, but you also know the passwords to uninstall the porn blockers. I don't have much of a social life, but I have also stopped attending any social events because I know my husband would be comfortable considering the circumstances of my affair. I just go to work and come home and spend all my free time taking care of the kids or researching, ordering, reading all books I can about infidelity and SCX addiction. I'm committed to rebuilding and reworking myself. Well, that's nice and all, but still is not going to change what happened. But in the meantime, how do I handle our conversations? I don't say anything with bad intentions. I generally want to be part of his healing. I know I probably am a bit selfish after all the hurt I caused him, but I want to be supportive and I want him to know that I'm willing to support him. But how can I support him when everything I say rubs him the wrong way? And you deal with it. That's what you do. You take your medicine. You broke this guy. But actually, his being broken is going to a whole new level pretty soon. And you're going to see this, and well, here we go with the next update here when it does get out everything she does, and watch this. This one's titled, Reconciliation is Off the Table. This will probably be my last post. Goodbye. Uh-oh. Ain't no way this is her last post. She says, my husband has been considering reconciliation for the last 2 weeks since I confessed to my affair. We've been having a lot of difficult discussions about my affairs, regarding how they started, what I was doing for, and of course my obsession with porn and kink content. The deeper we got into it, the more I got embarrassed and disgusted by my actions, and the less likely I felt that reconciliation would be possible. What do you expect? But we were having regular you-know-what as well, so I at least had a little bit of hope. Today, all that hope was lost. He walked out of our home after learning about more details, namely the nature of the kinks which I practiced with my physical affair partner. You all recall the things she was doing there, good God. And now this guy hears about it and he is done. Who can blame him? He immediately turned red when I started to count them off. And he knew about some of them, but not all. I was totally expecting it to be a difficult conversation, and I knew inevitably, even if he did not want to know any of the details, he would at least want to know the nature of those kinks. And I thought I was prepared to be brave and tell him all of them, but I couldn't. I choked in my own tears. I kept apologizing, but he wouldn't listen. Well, I'm surprised his face didn't turn red. It didn't turn white. But even then, he didn't get the whole thing. When he got some of them, and he's like, that's it, I'm out of here. Ugh. It was midday. I don't know why he decided to have this conversation in the middle of the day. We usually wait for the kids to be asleep before we have these kind of talks. And it was a weekend at 4 p.m. where everyone was at home. The kids came running down when he screamed at me, and we didn't even finish our conversation. I can't remember what it was like and what he was saying. I was basically on the floor, a complete mess at this point, just completely focused on getting him to not leave. It scared the kids too, because he tried to take them with him telling them that he'll take them to their grandparents' place, but they didn't want to leave my side. Well, I don't blame this guy for being upset, but should have waited for the kids to be in bed or something like that. So that is that. He hasn't even been back since. I sent him a text telling him to please come home and that we were worried for him. He sent back a long text telling me that our marriage is over and that we aren't going to be in the same house and we either need to find a way to share time with our kids or we'll need lawyers to get involved. After that, he blocked me and I didn't even get to send a reply. I wanted to tell him that it's okay, that he doesn't have to see me if he doesn't want to. I'd have offered to move out. Well, there you go. Well, thank God thank God he got to hear more of what happened and he's finally done with her. Thank God. This is not going to last. I feel like I've been dreading this for so long and it's finally come true. The dread that started when I woke up in the other person's room that night sober and finally getting the full view of what I've done. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to explain this to the kids. I haven't told them I cheated, but my eldest is 12 and I'm sure he figured it out because he told me that he'd tell his dad to forgive me. So that is all. I spent the last night crying to myself to sleep. I have to come to acceptance that my marriage is over. I have to accept that he's gone. I think I knew that at this moment. I woke up in the morning, and I think a lot of you were right that what I did was unforgivable. I'll do my best to repent for my sins. I'll do my best to keep the separation fair towards my husband. We'll see about that. Unless anything changes, this will be my last post. For the sake of my kids, at least, I want to be a better person. My therapist has suggested me to stay away from websites and contributed towards my infidelity and hypersexuality. I'll delete Reddit from my phone, and I'll probably not send any more messages or comments. Goodbye. Well, the best thing she can do, yes, is get this guy, the least she can do is give this guy the most convenient, amicable divorce possible. That's how she can demonstrate that she's truly sorry. In other words, he keeps the house, the kids stay in their home, doesn't take him to the cleaners, all that. That's how she can do to redeem herself. And yeah, therapy and block the spicy material from her phone and all that. And who knows what she's got to do, but to turn her life around. But I don't just buy the addiction part. I just also think this is her character. Now, do you really think that she could keep off Reddit? No. Here's another one. She says, don't know what's the point of being someone else's wife. My priority right now is to be a good parent to my kids, to give them time and support them through their education and be a good role model for them. Well, that's a good idea. But I don't feel like I'm ever going to fall in love again. I don't know. I'm very hurt, but I also feel that I don't want to be anybody else's wife but my current partner's, and my actions have made sure he'll never see me like that again. There's no way he's ever going to see the same again. And frankly, I don't think you're capable of love, not how you treated him. I don't see a point in marrying anybody else. I don't see a point in improving my SCX addiction and going through a long, taxing process of disclosing all my past baggage to somebody new to make them trust me so they can finally feel safe to commit to me. I have way too much baggage, and I don't know if I want to do all that work to improve my life. Oh, so here we go. Now she doesn't want to work on herself anymore. I'm screwed up. That's that. I'm not going to make any attempt. There you go. It's a lot easier just to keep doing what she's doing, just screwing up her life then, you know. I lost all my motivation to attend therapy or SAA and been coming back to the porn and online validation, see? I don't think it matters anymore, and I don't think my husband cares at all. Even my kids will be gone from me half the time. What would I even do for the rest of the time? I don't know, get a different hobby? I built my identity over being a mother and wife. Take that away, and I'm nothing but a pathetic, porn and pleasuring myself addict. I desperately wanted to reconcile because I did love my husband in an effed up way. But now he's gone. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I'll never let my kids know. I don't want them to worry, but it's a lonely life, and I have resigned myself to it. It's only been like a couple of weeks. You're giving up already? I knew she'd be back. Attention and validation is a drug. Best thing she can do is therapy and fix herself. If she's not going to do it for herself or some future guy, and I pity any guy who gets involved with her, do it for her kids. For God's sakes, you know? Get all that stuff off her phone. Do what get a sponsor. Go to those meetings, the therapist and all that. Do it for the kids, okay? End of freaking story. And give the guy an amicable divorce. Will there be any updates? Probably. And unless there's something really good, I won't be doing any updates further. But again, guys, holy crap, there you go. This is why you do your homework on your girl. And my God, I can't imagine being young now and how many young girls out there are posting themselves on social media or on Reddit or on Twitter, X, OnlyFans and all that. And believe me, there's going to be a reckoning one day when all these guys are going to be like, nope, I'm not getting involved with you unless I get a fucking private detective to check you out, because holy crap, I think it would be as bad as her. I hope not, but my God, I can only imagine. But anyway, guys, there you go. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Catch you next time.